You know, I've always striven for different. Different was always fun. It was exciting. It wasn't what I knew. And I told you that about growing up where I grew up, which was a nice community. You know, I appreciated it getting older. But when I lived there, it drove me crazy. I'm like, oh my God, prom, high school. What is this? This is all there is to life. Just, I'm going to die. Paste.
Hey there, welcome to the Art and Susie Show, where I am Suzanne and
Art.
all right. As I was having this conversation with a friend, a dear friend of mine, I made the comment that as people who strive to have a relationship with God, we tend to want to live in our own global world.
We want to be comfortable.
We want to be comfortable.
We want to be safe. We want to be surrounded by people who are like us.
Like us, we want to be exclusive. I don't believe that we have to try to be exclusive because we already are. But I do believe that as salt, that we need to mingle a little bit more. So we're going to talk about that today. You remember the bubble boy on Seinfeld?
I remember the boy in the bubble, John Travolta.
Oh.
You remember that on public TV?
No.
70s, yeah. Kid lived in a bubble, couldn't go out in the environment. Anyhow.
Right. So living in a bubble, it protects you from everything. It protects you from not just diseases and germs and things that may harm you, but it also protects you from affection and connection and things that nurture you.
No, a bubble keeps people out, but it also keeps you trapped in. You know, I think there's a tendency we if you're not careful, and everybody does it, it's a natural tendency. You want to be with people that act like you, think like you, look like you, run with you, believe the same as you, same, and we gravitate to that. There's nothing wrong with that, but when you do that at the exclusivity of anyone different, then I think you sell yourself short, and if you're not careful, you really trap yourself.
We do.
You know, and we've never been that way, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
You know, I've always striven for different. Different was always fun. It was exciting. It wasn't what I knew. And I told you that about growing up where I grew up, which was a nice community. You know, I appreciated it getting older. But when I lived there, it drove me crazy. I'm like, oh my God, prom, high school. What is this? This is all there is to life. Just, I'm gonna die. You know, but if you're not careful, you take that with you throughout the rest of your life, and then you never grow. If you don't experience differences and challenges, people are different. They're gonna challenge you.
Yeah.
You know, get out of your comfort zone. And if you don't, you won't grow. You'll be nice. Everything is nice.
Here's one pet peeve of mine, and it drives me absolutely insane. When I listen to people make a comment about someone and then they say, she's my friend, but she's not a Christian. And I'm thinking to myself, why do we have to make that distinction though?
It could be but.
He's not a Christian! No! Get out!
He's a fill in the blank, but you're putting restrictions, you're putting qualifications on that individual. You stop to see them as a person, you see them as a thing, as an idea, as an ideology. Well, yeah, I like you, but that but stops it right there. You've put a wall up. And it doesn't mean you necessarily agree with it.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're going to dive in and go down that path. It doesn't mean any of that. But you can be open to listening and understanding and trying to see where someone's coming from.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the issue. I'm with you on that one. It drives you crazy. It's like, well, who cares? You know, but if you get all scriptural, you look at who Jesus hung with. The drunks and the sinners and the prostitutes and you know, he wasn't hanging with the goody-goodies.
Right.
Oh, wow, I'm going to go hang with him because he's just like me.
Right.
No, he's like, I want nothing to do with you. You're too religious.
Exactly.
These are the people I'm going to go hang with because they're the ones that need hope. They're the ones that need love. They're the ones that we're supposed to be relating to as human beings where they are.
How do we expect to really touch lives and to really reach out as people connecting with other people if default we want to connect with are the people
That are like us.
that are like us in our circle, who think the same way, who act the same way. Oh my gosh. Honestly, I have seen some situations where I think, do I live in the Stepford town?
Oh my God.
What is going on? Do we have to look exactly the same, whether you're black or white? What is that language that we have as people who have a relationship with God or claim to have a relationship with God?
Christianese.
Christianese. Oh gosh, listen. This is not
It's not judgment.
to judge anyone.
It's just an awareness.
Just
don't fall into that trap.
It's an observation.
I used to watch her in the church we used to go to. You know, the whole thing was praise the Lord. That was your hello. Everybody said it without even thinking about it. You know, there was no emotion. It was just sort of like saying, hey, what's up? Well, I would watch her. You would go up to people and you wouldn't do that consciously. You were intentional about it. You would say, and how are you today?
Yeah.
Or you would say, you look very beautiful today. You would knock them out of that orbit.
Aw.
And you could see the change in their face. Oh, wait, what? You know, it wasn't just a, hey, have a nice day, praise the Lord. You know, and that's all fine and good. I mean, it could be worse. You could be saying worse things.
Right.
But you fall into this sameness and we just become robots and it's just a routine and it becomes really pretty boring.
Our bottom line is love. We are learning love on a daily basis. You cannot even imagine the journey that we're on right now. Very, very challenging. Our quest is to find authenticity in love.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point. You know, you talk about these little cliches and these things that we say and do. Be authentic, be you. Don't feel like you have to say that. If you want to say that, say it. That's cool. But if you don't. Say something different.
Connect with people. That is one of my favorite things to do.
I used to when I would go through the cashier, you know how they say, how are you today? You know, it was just formality. Sometimes if I was feeling a little bit sprite, I would say, I'm terrible, how are you? And you can look at the cashier and sometimes they would, I don't know what to do with that. You know, because we're so programmed, and I know as a cashier in retail, you're just trying to get through the day because God knows you deal with people that are interesting all day long.
Yeah.
But sometimes you knock them out of that, like I said, you knock them out of that orbit, and now you can connect as human beings, which is where we're supposed to meet.
Love people.
You know, when it comes down to it, that's where our common ground is. Don't put other conditions on it.
Right. See them for who they are. You know, they may not be in our circle.
They may sit in your car and smoke a crack pipe.
They might sit in your car and smoke a crack pipe.
There's a story behind that one. You know, but still, not my thing. I'd rather that not happen, but you know what? It happened.
It happened. Yeah.
You never know. You never know how you're going to touch someone. Somebody may, you know, hey, you know what? You know, years later come up to you and go, you remember when you were really nice to me? You were, you know, you never know how you're going to impact. And you may never know.
Connecting with people. How about when we were in Paris and Isabella?
Ooh, that's a fun story.
That's a fun story.
We'll have to tell you that whole tale
we'll tell you that sometime.
Lord have mercy. 4 years later, we're still dealing with the trip. So anyhow, long story short is, you know, relate to people as people. Just be you.
We love it.
Yeah, and that's how you learn.
We love it. We love connecting with people.
You can always learn from someone.
Always.
They don't have to be a certain type of whatever.
They don't have to be Christian. As for God so loved. Not just loved the world, but he so loved.
Doesn't say he just loved Christians.
Yeah.
It doesn't say he loved Jews. It doesn't say he loved a certain type of believer.
Yeah.
It said
he so loved
the world.
The world. That
no qualifier.
Gave. We are his hands and his feet. We
are
oracles. Right.
So
love.
Get all preachy, but
but
that's our approach. You know, it's foundational to who we are and how we approach things. So
stay strong. Stay together.
Stay in love.
And stay in love. And we'll see you on the next adventure.